Hi guys, and welcome back to Intoxicating Kitchen. Today we're going to make chicken tiki masala, one of our family's favorite and one of my most requested dishes. So let's get started. We're going to start with 1.5 to 2 onions depending on the size of them. I'm going to get those ready and get them chopped up. I'm going to get them in my little hand chopper here from Pampered Chef. Not sponsored, but this thing is great. If you don't want to get a big bulky chopper out, this works. Give the onions a couple chops so they fit in there a little better. And there we go. Get this board out of the way. We're going to get that lid on. It's got an unlock on there. There we go. Chops that onion up all nice. Take and get some of that stuff down there. That onion all nice and chopped up there. We're going to set that aside. And then you want to use 10 to 12 cloves of garlic, depending on the size of them. And we're going to get that chopped up too. All right, let's see. Get this garlic all chopped up. Some pretty good sized pieces of garlic. These big cloves of garlic are kind of tough to get. You could also use a garlic press if you wanted, but these are too big to put in a garlic press. This is what your garlic press looks like. Those cloves will definitely not fit in there unless you cut them up first. We're going to get our cloves of garlic all peeled, and we'll be right back with you to show you how we chop them up. Alright guys, we got our garlic all peeled. We're going to get this nice and chopped up for you. Seems like a lot of garlic, but we like garlic, so there's always a little bit of extra in our food. This is one of those dishes that you can make the sauce ahead of time, a day or two, and let it sit in the fridge. It also freezes great. We're getting our garlic and our onions ready again to put in a saucepan and saute those up. Now I don't worry about getting it chopped up too fine, because once I get my sauce all going and the tomatoes in it, I actually use an immersion blender to pulse it all up and make it nice and smooth. Alright folks, now we're going to get some ginger peeled. Ginger is not one of the easiest things. A lot of people do it with a spoon. I haven't had great experience myself with it. I just use a potato peeler and it seems to work okay for me. We're going to want about 4 teaspoons of ginger, and we're going to take our microplaner and we're going to zest that up so it is nice and fine, because ginger is very hard to cut. It doesn't chop up very small easily. It smells good though. And there you go. Get our ginger, and we're going to zest that, which is going to take a few minutes, and we'll be right back to show you where that stuff's going to go. All right, we've got our 1.5 to 2 onions all chopped up, our 10 to 12 garlic cloves all chopped, and about 4 teaspoons of ginger all grated up. We're going to set that aside because it's going to go in a saucepan in a few minutes. We'll show you that. Now we're going to get our dry ingredients ready that's going to go in the saucepan also. We've got about 1/2 teaspoon both of cayenne pepper and chili powder, 4 tablespoons of masala, about 1.5 tablespoons of cumin, and we have some turmeric. I'm going to put in about a tablespoon of dry. If anybody's ever looking for regular turmeric, it's a root. This is what it comes in a container. It's a root. You can peel it. We peel it and put it in our salads, chop it up, put it in our dinners and stuff. When you do that, make sure you have gloves on. It will turn your hands orange. All right, back to our dry. We're going to add about 2 teaspoons of monk fruit. Again, I don't use sugar, I use monk fruit. Then we're going to add about 1 teaspoon each of onion powder, garlic powder, coriander, and dry ginger. And then we're going to add just a little bit of salt and pepper to taste. Probably, I'm going to say about 1 teaspoon of each. Everybody's taste is a little different, so when we eat it in with our sauce and you taste it, you might add more salt or pepper. And that's going to be it for that. We're going to go over to the saucepan and show you what we're going to start over there. All right, let's get our Tiki Masala sauce going. We're going to preheat our pan, get it heated up. We're going to put about 2 to 3 tablespoons of olive oil in the bottom, and then we're going to throw in onions and saute them up for a few minutes. Get a nice heat there. Get our olive oil in, just enough to cover the bottom of the pan. Remember, when it starts to heat up, it will expand a little bit. So we got our olive oil all in there. We're going to get our onions tossed in from what we chopped up earlier. And you'll notice some of them are still in big chunks, which is okay, because as I said, we're going to use our immersion blender when this gets all ready. So we'll be chopping those all up. Turn that heat down a little bit. Spread those onions out so they start getting a nice cook on them. And you'll see a couple big chunks in there. As I said, I'm not worried about them. Get this out of the way. We'll let that cook for a minute, and then we're going to add in our garlic. All right, those onions are getting nice and soft, so we're going to go ahead and add our garlic in now. And our ginger. Get that good and stir it up and cook for about 2 to 3 minutes. We're going to cook that on about medium heat. All right, to our onion, garlic, and ginger mix, we're going to add 2 28-ounce cans of diced tomatoes. You could use tomato puree if you want. You could use whole tomatoes, but as I said, it's just easier to use the diced, and I'm going to use my immersion blender, so it's going to make it a little bit easier. Get that good and stirred up. All right, we're also going to add about 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. I like to use the little tubes of it. It's just easier, and that way you've got it in the fridge all the time. If you open a can of tomato paste, you end up using half of it and throwing the other half away because you forget and it's gone bad. This seals and stays good really nice. We're going to also add a cup of heavy cream. We're going to turn that heat down a little bit. Get this stirred and let it simmer for a few minutes. If it seems like it's too thick, you can always add some more heavy cream, or a lot of times I'll add just some chicken stock to thin it out a little bit. We'll let this cook for about 5-10 minutes and we'll come back. All right guys, while this is simmering, we also want to add in our spice mixture that we made earlier. So all those flavors get nicely incorporated into our sauce. So we're going to get that mixed in real good, and then we'll be back in a few minutes and get that immersion blender out. All right, let's get this sauce broke down a little bit. We're going to stick our immersion blender in there. As you see, it's a little thick. We're going to start with this, and we might have to add some stock. You don't want to get it too thin. You want a nice, good Tiki Masala thick sauce. If you don't have an immersion blender, you could always put it in a regular blender or a food processor and get that same consistency. I'm going to turn the speed up on this a little bit, get those bigger chunks of onions that I left in there. That looks pretty good. Might be a couple little thicker chunks in there. And if you're like me, you got to taste things as you go, and any good cook will. Let's see how this is tasting. Perfect consistency. Didn't need to add stock. Oh, and it does have a little bit of kick. We do like our stuff spicy, so you might want to start with less chili powder and less cayenne pepper than I put in. But Indian food is supposed to be spicy, so adjust your heat levels as you need to. You can always add extra cayenne pepper and chili powder later. Alright guys, while our sauce is simmering, we're going to make our dip for our chicken, what we put on our chicken before we get ready to cook it. I've got about a cup of yogurt. I use vanilla yogurt. I like the taste of it better. You can use plain if you want. You're better off with a whole milk or a Greek yogurt. You want it to be a little bit thicker. To that, we're going to add a teaspoon of salt and pepper. Then we're going to add about 2 teaspoons of ginger, a tablespoon of garlic, and then a half a teaspoon of cumin and coriander. Get that all mixed up, and then we're going to get our chicken cut. You don't want your chicken to be too thick. It will take forever to cook. So we're going to get this mixed up, and then we'll come back. We'll cut our chicken and then show you how to get it all set and ready to go in the oven. Alright guys, we have gotten our chicken, boneless, skinless chicken breasts out and washed them, pat them dry a little bit, and then we're going to cut those. Butterfly them a little bit. You don't want them too thick, but you don't want them too thin either. And if you still think they're too thick, you could always put them between 2 pieces of saran wrap and pound them a little thinner. You want them about 1/4 inch thick is what you've got. So about 1/4 inch thick. We'll get these cut and then we'll show you what we're going to do with them. Alright, we have got our dip for our chicken all ready that we're going to dip it in. We've got our chicken all sliced, and then we have also got a broiler pan that we've lined with foil, so it's a lot easier to clean up because this definitely makes a mess. Some people have cookie sheets they use and have the racks that go on top of them. That's okay too. I'm also going to spray the top of this with my olive oil just to keep it from making too much of a mess. This process, you might want to have some paper towels handy because it will get your hands a little messy. We're going to take our chicken, we're going to dip it in our sauce, make sure it's coated nice, both sides. I can't do the fork, I got to use my hands. Shake it off and put it on our tray. Get this tray all nice and lined up. I'm not going to do all this. This was 4 chicken breasts. So it makes quite a bit. I'll make 2 trays of it. It also freezes good. And as I said, there's plenty of sauce. You'll have sauce left over from that recipe. There you go. There we have it. And then we're going to go over and get it stuck in the oven at 350, and we're going to bake that for about 20 minutes. We'll let you know when we get to the oven. Sprinkle with salt, pepper, cumin, and coriander before you put it in the oven at 350 for 20 to 25 minutes. Alright guys, it's been about 25 minutes. This is looking really good. It's up to you. If you want it a little browner, you could put it under the broiler for a couple seconds, which I think I'm going to do, just a couple minutes under the broiler. So we're going to shut this up, turn the broil on, and set it back in there. Alright guys, our broiler is ready. We're going to get that set in there and just get a nice little brown put on them. In that goes, and that should only take a couple of minutes. Alright guys, we've put a nice little brown on it. Not too much, just a little bit, just to get that yogurt sauce to sink into it. And we're going to get this up here, let it cool for a minute, and then we'll plate it up and show you what it looks like with our sauce and some roasted cauliflower rice. All right, this is done. Let's get this all into a dish. We're gonna put a scoop of cauliflower rice in here that we roasted. Some in the bottom. Pick one of these nice pieces of chicken, set on top, and then as much or as little of this Tiki Masala sauce as you like. And there you go. Don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button and that notification bell to see what's up next. Thanks for watching. Leave your comments down below.